Hello everyone, welcome to What's Crafting Wednesday. Lisa here. Thank you so much for joining in tonight. Let's get started with our drawing from last week's leftovers cards. And let me just put my names in here and a little shake. And let me see. I have Judy. Well, congratulations, Judy. I will get these cards off to you. Okay, everyone. Well, thank you for joining in again this week. And, also, thank you for the compliments on my nail color. I just love this color. I hope you could see the actual sparkle in the polish. So pretty. But since you noticed my nail color, I thought I'd wear a sweater tonight to coordinate with my nails. Okay, so November is going to be a series of fast and festive Christmas cards. Things that are easy to make, easy to replicate if you wanted to make, a whole bunch of them as your Christmas card. So tonight we will be using this new framed and festive stamp set. It's a sentiment set, just became available November 1st. It is a rubber stamp set. With nice fonts for the sentiments. And we will also be using the Peaceful Deer just for the envelope, for stamping the envelope, and of course the coordinating deer punch. Okay, I have my card pack here. Put the envelope off to the side. I have Evening Evergreen, and that is 4 1/4 by 11, and we will score that at 5 1/2. And then for the front of the card, I have a piece, let's do the inside. I'm going to put this off to the side. For the inside, I have a piece of basic white 4 by 5 1/4. And also for the inside, I have a strip of DSP. And this here is from the Lights Aglow 6x6 Specialty Designer Series paper. The patterns on one side have gold or silver, and the patterns on the other side are your normal paper pattern DSP. So I have a strip for the inside that is cut at 1 by 5 1/4. And this here is the inside of the card, just stamped with the sentiment. And the envelope is stamped with trees. And then for the front of the card, I have a piece of basic white cardstock, 4 by 5 1/4. A piece of the DSP, which is 4 by 3. I think it's 3. Nope, 2 1/2. Sorry about that. And I have a scrap piece here of gold for the deer. And this here is from the Gold and Rose Gold 6x6 Metallic Specialty paper. And I understand from one of my downline that this was just absolutely gorgeous for making fall leaves. And we will be using the, what is this ribbon called? It just seems to be gold shimmer ribbon. Okay, so let's get started. Going to take the DSP and adhere this to the front of the basic white. And just make sure it's lined up. Looks good. And then I'm taking a strip of tear and tape, and I'm going to run along the seam where the DSP ends here on the paper. And I'm just going to overlap between the DSP and the basic white mat. And then I'm going to run a piece of this pretty gold ribbon across here. And you can use your grid paper to help with alignment. And that is as long as the tear and tape doesn't stick to your hand. Move it over this way a little more. And there so I know it will be straight. And right there. Okay. And then just snip that off. And then on the back here, I'm just going to put some tear and tape to adhere the ribbon. And then once we adhere it to the card, I'll put tear and tape over the ribbon as well. But this right now is just to adhere it to the back. I always like to make sure that the ribbon is adhered well, because since it has a little bit of bulk to it, you do want to make sure that it's firmly attached so that your card lies flat when you assemble it. Okay, and then we're going to put this on the card base. So I'm just going to take a little more tear and tape, and that I'm just going to adhere over the ribbon. And then I'll peel that off. And I think after I scored the card base, I forgot to fold and crease it. So let's get that done. I did forget. And then, of course, you always want to use your bone folder. And now I've torn the backing off the tear and tape here, and I'm just going to add some Tombow. And then we can just adhere this right to the front of the card base. And since you have tear and tape on here, just eye it to make sure you get it straight on your first try, because you won't have that wiggle room now. And then we're going to take the scrap of gold here, and we're going to punch out a deer with the deer builder punch. Now I'm only using the deer, I'm not using the antlers or anything. Oh, I've got his leg off the edge there. Okay. Here's our deer, and the rest of the pieces will go in my little trash over there. And I thought about popping him up with dimensionals, and then I decided just to adhere him flat. So a little bit of Tombow on him. You don't want to put too much because you don't want it coming out the sides. And then just angle him so he's leaping through the air. Okay. And then we are going to do a little embellishing on the front. He's getting a red rhinestone for his nose. I mean, if you wanted to keep the card a little more elegant, instead of adding the red rhinestone, you could put a gold one there, but I like the red for Rudolph, and it gives a little bit of pop of color to the card as well. And then we're going to embellish with these new gold, what are they called? Gold adhesive backed swirls. These are new. They also just came out on the 1st, and they're part of the Framed Florets collection. And these will be available, I believe, through the end of the year or while supplies last. I lost my backing there. Okay, and then we'll just put one down there. So they're very pretty. They're fairly flat, but they do have, I don't know, kind of like, let me put it up a little closer. I don't know if you could see it, kind of like a pinwheel design in it. But the fact that they're flat is nice because it makes it easier for mailing. And now we go on to the inside of the card. And I first was going to stamp the sentiment in the evening evergreen because that would be quite fast to do. But then I decided I would emboss it in gold because this gold was just screaming out to me to have some embossing with it. But if you did want to make the card faster, you could just stamp in your regular dye ink. But I think that the gold embossing looks very pretty with it. So we will gold emboss. And I have the Stamparatus, of course, my favorite. So I want to make sure, since this is a rubber stamp, that the sentiment is straight. I'm going to pop that in the middle there, and I'm going to use the embossing buddy. And then I'm going to ink up the stamp in Versamark. And it may look like it's off center right now, but that's because we still have to add the strip of DSP. And now we'll just get some gold embossing powder on here. And I always like to put it on twice just to make sure everything got covered. And then just check to make sure you don't have anything, any stray embossing flakes on here, but I don't see any. So it's going to get a little noisy for a second. I have to heat up my embossing gun, so bear with me a moment. I'll try and keep it away from the phone so it's not as loud. And I always like to heat my gun about 20 seconds before I actually use it, because then it heats up quicker and it's not as much warping of the paper that way. So now I'll just bring this over so you can see the magic of embossing. Ooh, can you see that as it turns now? I still remember the first time I did embossing. I was just amazed by it. Okay. And then you can always heat a little bit from behind to help flatten the paper out again. Some people actually emboss from behind. I've never tried that, but I've heard that works well. And now we'll just adhere the strip of DSP along the edge. Now I could have done it beforehand since I was using the Stamparatus and I knew that it would stamp perfectly. But normally I don't add anything until I have finished my stamping, just in case. Just in case I made a wee little boo-boo that could not be fixed. Okay, and we'll just adhere this on the inside now. It's my finished card. Here's my card in progress. And since we did emboss it, the paper has a little bit of warping, so you just want to make sure that you press it down good. I mean, I probably should have used tear and tape on this, but I was being quick. So I think that's good. And then the envelope. Now on this one, I stamped in the dye ink, but I think just to see the difference, we will stamp tonight's envelope and emboss it in gold. And then you can let me know what you like better. So always remember to use your embossing buddy when you are heat embossing. And we'll just stamp the trees in Versamark again. And let me add some gold embossing powder. And my second helping, as I like to call it. Okay, and the embossing gun still, yeah, it still feels fairly warm, so I can just go right ahead and start to emboss. And then you can watch the magic of it. And there it goes, starting up. Okay, my crafty friends, that is tonight's Fast and Festive Christmas card. So we have the 2 envelopes here, the one in Evening Evergreen, and then the one gold embossed. So in your comments, let me know which one you like better with the card. I bet I know what your answer is going to be, but hey, sometimes I'm surprised. Okay, everyone, thank you for joining me in my first of this month's Fast and Festive What's Crafting Wednesday Christmas cards. Leave me a comment. Let me know, especially what you think about the 2 envelopes, what you think about the card. Also, this new framed and festive holiday sentiment stamp set. Okay, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful and crafty week, and I will see you back here next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Thanks. Bye.